Oh, shoot.
What's happening, everybody? It's your girl, Tesla Figueroa. I want to talk to you just a couple of minutes about something I've been noticing that has been increasing and is becoming quite disturbing to me. Yesterday was MLK Day. Many of you posted videos from the 1960s, which was great to do. You should do it. I get it. But many of you said that, I refuse to pay attention to anything that happened yesterday because I'm going to spend all of my time focusing on MLK, which is fine. But I want to remind you that I believe MLK would certainly want you to do two things at the same time: honor his life and honor all the things that he did in the 60s, but also pay attention to the things that are happening right now in 2025 as diversity literally was rolled back in many ways on yesterday in real time. I know many of you said, I'm going to show them what time it is by not watching the news. I refuse to give them the ratings. So I just want to put things in perspective for you for a moment. You not watching it and him not getting ratings it doesn't mean he won't be renewed for another season on a reality show. He's been renewed, Donald Trump, to be president for the next 4 years. Whether you watch, don't watch, whether you ignore it or you choose to watch, either way, he's the president of the United States. And I want you to pay attention to what is happening. When political content is posted and you ask me, hey, I don't want to see it on my timeline, I'm going to remind you that whether you see it on your timeline, you're going to see it in real time in your community, and you should know what's going on. I want to remind you that going to the comments when you see political content and you ask people what they want from the imaginary store, and they respond to you with an imaginary product, it did not stop the hundreds of executive orders that went into effect on yesterday. You saying, I'm done paying attention to politics, it's not going to stop them from being done. In fact, they just got started. The meme that I keep seeing of Black women watching America burn, I want to remind you, sisters, that while America is burning, some of our children are in those houses. You posting in the comments, they gonna fuck around and find out, doesn't mean that you will be exempt from finding out, even if you didn't fuck around. If I ask you 10 executive orders out of the hundreds that were passed yesterday, do you know the answer? This promotion of not paying attention must stop. If no one watched the news in Los Angeles, no one would have known to evacuate to avoid the wildfire. I am not saying that to say that you need to save America, but I do want you to have the tools to know how to save yourself. This is Tesla Figaro, guys. Please make sure you stay tapped in to the Straight Shot No Chaser podcast and my role as chief political correspondent for Revolt News. Peace. What's happening, everybody? It's your girl, Tesla.
Welcome to Let Me Know your thoughts on what Tesla had to say there. Is it too much for you now? Do you ignore what's going on now? I mean, folks got busy lives, right? But as she put it, I mean, that's one way to look at it, right? If folks in LA didn't pay attention to the news, they wouldn't have known to evacuate. What do you think? Give us your thoughts. We'll talk about it during the show today as your comments come in this morning. We got a few things on the table this morning. Just how is Trump showing his thanks to minorities who voted for him? Well, we have some basic facts for Hispanics, the LGBT community, and Black folks. That's coming up. Folks, we've talked about this a lot. Trump wants to end the Department of Education. But what's more, there's a new research report that came out from ProPublica. They did a study that shows that private schools are about 95% white on average across the country, and they mostly exclude people of color. Where are people getting the education from, folks? Where they're going to get the education from? We're going to talk about that this morning. Also, I want your thoughts. I want you to tell us what you think. Reverend Al Sharpton says he's issued a threat of mass boycotts of companies who dismantle their DE&I initiatives. Well, will it work this time as Trump now has more power than any president in history? And he's, of course, totally against DEI. We got a huge executive order yesterday on that, a very racist executive order on that, too. We'll talk about that this morning. And do you agree or disagree? Listen, this is your show. We want you to tell us your thoughts on these things. Do you agree or disagree with Charlemagne, and why? He says the anger directed towards Snoop Dogg and other rappers who perform for Trump should be directed at Democrats. That's what Charlemagne is saying this morning. Um, Andrea Williams says she is right, but I feel like, as talking about Tesla, I feel as people we need to actually stick together and not fall apart. Yeah, and I think it's part of what she's saying too, though. Um, and she's talking about overturning the government as well. Uh-oh. And Andrea wants to, I got to say it the black way. Andrea wants to overturn the government. She wants to do something about it. take matters into our own hands. She might have a point there too, folks. Orange says she has a point, but I can read the black press or watch C-SPAN. Just about everything else is propaganda. 100%. Meta, Twitter, and TikTok have all gone full MAGA. Or as he says, MAGA Billy. And that's a fact. We've been talking about that too, right? Check the algorithm, check your hashtags, and things are not showing up. And folks are getting automatically, they're automatically getting like Trump and JD Vance and their follows, or they're somehow following them. And they certainly didn't hit follow. Michelle Madison says it's impossible to ignore what's happening. She says, I use a filter for the news. Also, I tune into shows like Let It Be Known to give the news that's to get the news that's important to me and mine. That's what we hope to keep bringing you this information that we believe is a little bit different um, than how it's presented in mainstream media. So, but Teslin, she has, she talked long before the election. She pointed out a lot of things that ultimately uh, panned out or turned out to be spot on. So she's one person that you can also get some information from as well. But what's your thoughts, folks? Do we turn this guy off? Do we, ignore what's going on at the White House and what's emanating, not necessarily at the White House, but what's emanating from the White House? Do we ignore all of that? Um, Andrea says, I think everyone wants to blame the Democrats. Well, I think they certainly share in the blame, but are they fully to blame? Probably not, but they certainly share in the blame. They, as we saw, even with Trump's inauguration, and even before with Biden inviting Trump to the White House and pretty much kissing the ring, going, first to announce he was going to Trump's inauguration. And folks are even still upset with from Carter's funeral, Jimmy Carter's funeral, with the interaction between Barack Obama and Donald Trump, even though don't really know what was said. Dr. Nicole says we can ingest the news at our own time and pace. We don't have to be banged on the head with it all day. It's still called social media, not political media. And so that's it. That's it, Dr. Nicole. The problem is it is political media now. They are, Trump has his folks in total control of these social media outlets, especially, of course, Mr. Nazi salute ex Elon Musk. And we know that Zuckerberg is, he exudes privilege and just as much, all of this MAGA stuff is, that's his thing. So we got some really, really bad weather. And so it looks like it's affecting everything. But I'll get to the weather in a moment. But Southbound 3000 says, never will work on the basis of when you say protest black folks for some reason. He's talking about Al Sharpton now, make companies that much richer by buying. We're going to get to that too, Southbound. You're right. I think you're right. Or at least you have been right. We'll see what happens going forward. But first, at least 9 people. It's cold, folks. It's cold, cold, cold. In fact, it's so cold. I my sister was watching the dog, and my family, my girls, they have a dog, and I was foolish enough to invite her to bring the dog back before they get back. They won't get back to sometime today, and she says, "Are you sure?" And that was my cue to say, "No, you know what? Wait till they get back." But sometimes I don't think because it was so cold. I decided to indulge myself while I was doing some work. So if you read my last couple of articles, there might be, uh, you might see the word the McAllen or Johnny Walker Black or something like that. Just so But anyway, she brings the dog back, and this morning it's about 5 degrees. And I know the dog's schedule is to go outside. Now there's snow and ice and everything on the ground. Now this little mutt refuses to go outside unless I go out with her. And I got to get myself prepared. I got to talk to you guys. And I step out for a moment and she's looking at me and she's not doing her business. First of all, I'm not cleaning up after the dog. That's their job, right? So you don't want to do your business. I don't have to worry about it. I will mark the spot if you do your business so they can clean it up when they come back. But she refuses to stay out there until she does. So she comes into where we have this breezeway thing, and she comes in, and I'm looking at me, and it looks like she's gonna do some business. I said, "Okay, outside." Send her back outside. She still refused. That went on 3 times. The last time I bring her back in, locked her, I said, "Okay, we're done here." And she urinates on the carpet in the breezeway, and I'm done with her. So she will not eat or anything like that until they get back. We're done. I can't deal. I can't deal. But nonetheless. At least 9 people are believed to have died as a result of the dangerous cold gripping much of this country. A once in a generation winter storm is wreaking havoc all along the Gulf Coast. I saw RNG post some video of what's going on in New Orleans. I saw others. I saw my girl JJ Go from Texas posting. You know, Texans are in trouble. She posting videos. Um, and stuff. Go JJ is Houston 4 times, and she's posting videos with some sneakers on, no gloves, and she's out, and she's like, "Okay, maybe I should have some gloves or something." Yes, you should, JJ. Randy has to school her, I guess, because she was out. Randy was back east this weekend covering the inauguration, and so she's gonna have to school her a little bit on. Oh, shoot, Randy's stuck with us, y'all. She can't go home. I'm just told, Greer says that they shut the airport down in Washington, and Florida got hit with some snow. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I have bones to pick, personal bones to pick. Um, I'm a longtime Marriott Bonvoy member, and my family got to a Marriott in New York yesterday or this morning about almost 2 a.m. And the lady at the front desk, my name is on the membership. Lady at the front desk says, "Well, you have to call." I called early in the day. So they made them wait. It's cold. They're tired. So I have a bone to pick with Marriott. That's a personal bone. But it's 30 degrees in Orlando, Florida, says Empress Lorene. There's no climate change, though, David Youngblood says. And check out Bourbon Street, as we said in New Orleans. We haven't seen that. Orangey, when's the last time you seen something like that? He says his huskies are on vacation. They are sunbathing in the snow. But that's Bourbon Street, folks. That looks like it looks like the Back Bay in Boston. The cold has proved deadly, and there's been, as we see in footage from across the country and crazy places. That's the French Quarter. I can't get over it. Yeah, Andrea, that's crazy, right? Um, and I'm told that street performers, were still singing for passersby at the Florida border and on the white sand beaches of Orange Beach, Alabama. Snow, cold. Um, Southbound is asking, did April Ryan go live yesterday? Yeah, her and Make It Plain went live yesterday. I'm understanding that that's should be a daily thing. So check out. I don't know if April's going to be a daily thing or not, but as far as being on Make It Plain, but you can check that out. But she's got some other stuff planned. She talked about being at the White House when nobody's there. They're not even having briefings yet. They're not doing their job, but she's doing hers. But it's cold. Um, Folks, you got to bundle up. Bundle up. I'm not one to turn the heat up so high. but believe me, it's, uh, it's nice and toasty in here. And Andrea says it's too cold in New York for us to get snow. And that's when you know it's cold. When the weather people tell you it's too cold to snow. Georgia officials have reported at least one death from hypothermia. In Atlanta, they even got hit with some snow. They don't know how to behave. An 80-year-old woman in Milwaukee fell outdoors. Um, Hypothermia set in. This is the result of this major weather event that's gripping the nation. Snow is falling from southeast Texas through Louisiana into parts of Mississippi and Alabama, which has created some real treacherous conditions. And what they're doing, folks, in that brief video you saw with them, appears to be on a beach where there's all ice, is extremely dangerous. Extremely dangerous. Avoid idiotic things like that. That's idiotic. There's been too many incidents, and I won't even call them accidents, where folks have gotten on ponds and things of that nature, and they have fell in. The ice broke, and the outcome was not good at all. Even Houston, and it gets hot, hot, hot in Houston. 3 to 6 inches of snow. And speaking of New Orleans, at the Louis Armstrong Airport, 8 inches of snow. And according to the National Weather Service, um, that's a record. The previous modern record is a record by a landslide. The previous modern record there was 2.7 inches in 1963. Florida has likely broken its all-time statewide snow record with at least 5.5 inches in Molino, and that's a record that stood since 1954. In Mobile, Alabama, there was a 143-year-old record that was broken with 5 inches of snow, a one-day record. He says they look like buffalo out there. Stay inside and pray for the crawfish. Crawfish. Orange G says. Um, Michelle Madison says uh, her son-in-law's mother is visiting from Cleveland. She said that it's colder in Maryland than in Cleveland. Go figure that. Think about where Cleveland is. It's up near Buffalo, New York, where it's absolutely always cold. He says they he said they still have people outside twerking in the snow. New Orleans will be all right. The folks don't know what to do with themselves in this cold, brutally cold weather. To say it's cold is just a tremendous understatement. Empress Lorene says Cleveland is cold. And that what we're seeing, Greer says, is Panama Beach, Pensacola, Florida. Can you believe that? Folks go down there to escape this weather. Seniors retire there to escape this weather as well. Can you believe what you're seeing, folks? Wow. That snow is still going. Wow. Well, stay warm. Drink something warm. You don't have to follow my lead. Just get yourself some hot chocolate or something. I got nobody to get me coffee this morning. I know. Well, this I feel like uh Joker from the best Batman, the first Batman, 1989. He said this town needs an enema. Um, so remember during the campaign and even a couple of days ago, some bold Latinos, Hispanics, if you will. I just want to be politically correct. Latinos, Hispanics, were celebrating Trump, as were some members of the LGBTQ community, I should say. And of course, Snoop Dogg, Mike Tyson, Amanda Holyfield, Soldier Boy, Rick Ross, and other African Americans celebrated big time. They even went down there and danced the jig for him. Well, here's how Trump is repaying you for your loyalty. First, the Spanish version. First for those Latinos, Hispanics. Correct. Somebody put the correct word in there before I get in trouble. Tell me which one to say, Latino or Hispanic. But the Spanish version, this is his immediate thank you. The Spanish version of the White House website and the White House's Spanish Twitter accounts have each been deleted expeditiously. And that's just part of Trump's thank you. Empress Lorene says, say Hispanic. Okay. Southbound says, I saw a document where China have heat monitors under the roadways. That's tech savvy. If that is true, that is tech savvy. Um, but as I said, that's part of Trump's thank you, along with preparing the sheriffs everywhere and the military to deport many of your cousins. Thank you for your loyalty. And what about the LGBTQ folks who felt comfortable enough to celebrate the dictator? Well, let's take Caitlyn Jenner, for instance. Okay, Andrea says Latinos. I'm going with Andrea on this one, Empress. I'm going to go with both of y'all. Put it that way. He says, say what you like now. The ADL would just say it was an awkward moment, no big deal. ADL doesn't care about the part of whether it's Latino or Hispanic, right? They're not going to get involved in that. But take Caitlyn Jenner, for instance. Caitlyn wrote on Twitter, congratulations, Mr. President, and thank God. The worship continues, right? Well, of course, social media had the most in your face comeback to Caitlyn's post, with at least one person recognizing an executive order by Trump when it comes to this one person recognizing the executive order by Trump when it comes to the LGBTQ community. And this person responded directly to Caitlyn and said, quote, Trump just ordered the government to call you Bruce. Ouch. That's his thank you, though, Caitlin. That's his thank you for your blind loyalty. See, Caitlyn Jenner is in the same category as Snoop and Rick Ross and all of them. And why is that? Because you go and celebrate this man. You go and throw all your, get on your knees for him, kiss the ring, and all that stuff, and you totally forget about the pain that he's causing your people, your cousins, your brothers, your sisters, your mamas, your daddies, uh, your senior citizen loved ones. Lauren G says, "I when Bruce read that, I know he clutched his pearls." Andrea says, "I said Caitlyn was going back to Bruce." Well, Caitlyn under Trump has no choice. What's going to happen now, Kate? Katie? Caitlyn? Kathy? I don't know. What's going to happen now? You forget it's like, again, the mentality is, again, boss, I'm in the big house. I ain't gonna try to lose the big house. I ain't going out in the fields with the other Negroes and other ingrates and this. Yeah. And again, folks, You want to give Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt on race and racism, right? But everybody who supports him is racist. Everybody who supports him is sexist. Everybody who supports him uh, pretty much hates anything to do with minorities. Mike V says actually Caitlin won't it 100%. Thank you, Mike V. Caitlin won't be able to use the bathrooms at the Capitol, according to Nancy Mace. So you do all this stuff. And again, we talk about the politics. We cover the politics. We have to. But I am not a political person. But even I, and even those who don't get involved in politics, you can't see the hypocrisy. You can't see. I don't care what you're in. If as a whole they are someone or something or some people are damaging intentionally your people, people you grew up with, people you, who support your career, who have bought your records, who have paid to see you in person in other places, and you can't take a stand. All y'all fake. All y'all fake. Caitlyn lost her mind anyway, being around those Kardashians. They got all jealous and decided they getting all this attention. Well, here's a way I can get attention. Y'all can't tell me no different. Now, others who have uh, done the you know trans, I can't say that about everybody else. They've made decisions that they felt were best for them. This one, the former Bruce Jenner, wanted attention. And let's not forget, during Bruce's transformation to Caitlyn, he, I don't think he was quite Caitlyn yet, so I'm going to say he. And it's not meant as disrespect because he wasn't at the time, he was in the process. And because he was in the process, he got into a little bit of trouble. He killed somebody in a vehicular situation. And because he didn't want nobody to see him until the job was fully done. Remember that whole controversy? Like the Kardashians had to keep it quiet until the transformation was finished. But this dude, former dude, wanted attention. Folks, it was so absurd because these are women, the Kardashians, who were getting attention. Mostly Kim, and I'm gonna give her a little bit of credit. I know y'all don't hear that often from me when it comes to a Kardashian, but let's face it, Kim was doggone fine back then. She was hot. She was a good looking girl back then. Prior to all of the plastic stuff that they all got now. And you're around Kim and her sisters, and Kylie was a little cutie. I don't know what y'all see in Chloe and Kendall though. But people saw beauty in them too. And they were getting all this attention. And Bruce had all these Olympic champion and cereal box, Wheaties box Bruce. It was dead. Nobody cared about that anymore. And Bruce was around these women and decided this is a great way to get some great attention. That's 100% how it happened, how I believe it happened. 100%. And I believe that there's been some regret. I saw up close and personal for the first time a year ago Caitlyn Jenner at the White House Correspondents Association dinner. Basically walked in the door alongside her. It wasn't planned. It wasn't planned. I just happened to walk in at the same time Caitlin walked in, and I just couldn't believe my eyes because I'm gonna tell you, and I was on the phone with Shanae at the time, and my reaction, it was my reaction. My reaction was immediately because I grew up on Bruce Jenner. I grew up on that Olympics. We would watch the Olympics all the time, mainly because back in the 70s, especially in the mid 70s, when Bruce was dominating the Olympics, Sugar Ray Leonard was dominating the Olympics in boxing, and we were watching that. And of course, they would show the decathlon and all that stuff. And so we walk in. I look, oh, right, shoulder to shoulder. And the word came out of my mouth. I said, Bruce. And I said, oh my God. And I was on the phone with Shanae. Shanae was like, do not ever do that. She chastised me. Don't ever do that. That is wrong. You don't want to do that. I was like, okay, when you told me the first time, don't do it, I got the message. It's like Greer yells at me like 17 times too. Yeah, you know, women in my life, I get it the first time. They said, no, you don't, because we wouldn't have to go 17, 18 times. But that's what happened. I kid you not. This was just last April. And Lauren G says, I have no respect for those Kardashians. The mother sold her daughter's sex tape. How nasty can an individual be? Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. If there's one Kardashian or Jenner that is the worst, if you can classify one as the worst, it has to be Kris Jenner. The last thing you would think a mother wants to see is her daughter having sex on tape or anywhere. The last thing a daughter would want or a child. That is horrible to think your mom watching you have sex. That's horrible. I don't know what world people are brought up in. Mike V is asking any thoughts on DA Larry Krasner going after the J6 insurrections in Pennsylvania. I don't know that unless they have some local state crimes, I don't know that he can. He certainly can't go after them for what they did at the Capitol. Andrea says Chloe Kylie were funny looking. Yeah, I thought so too. Good morning, Thomas. Cousin Thomas Patterson. I think he's still in Jersey, Tommy, right? Um, Andrea says Kendall actually is pretty. Okay. See? Um, Caitlin looks like Melania Trump or vice versa. But anyway, I know I got way off course there with Caitlin. But this is the thanks from Donald Trump. And then as far as Snoop and them, you know, here, just real quick, a fact sheet. President Donald J. Trump protects. This is from the White House. Quote, President Donald J. Trump protects civil rights and merit-based opportunity by ending illegal DE&I. His order terminates diversity, equity, and inclusion discrimination in the federal workforce. He calls that discrimination. And remember, folks, Snoop, Charlie Martin, Soldier Boy, Rick Ross, Mr. I Get in My Bag Nelly, who has ruined his wife's social media. She's getting these strays from this big time. And yeah, we found out something else about Nelly. All of a sudden, remember that he got charged. We talked about that on Let It Be Known a few months ago. He got those charges in Missouri. All of a sudden, he appears at Trump's party the other day. All of a sudden, Missouri prosecutors say he won't charge Nelly after his drug arrest. So if he just said, listen, is nothing beats telling the truth, folks. Nothing beats telling the truth. Because folks, the collateral damage for Nelly is horrible because it's hurting his wife. Ashanti. And he just come out and he just don't say nothing. Tell us it ain't none of our business. But you went on to talk about uh respecting the office and this and that or whatever. And I get I'm 100% respect the office. 100%. I'm with that. But then went on and on about getting the bag and this and well, blah blah blah. Had you just said, look, if you're gonna speak, speak truth. Hey, I don't want to do no jail time on behind those charges. And this guarantees that I won't. Just say it. People can respect that. I think you still get a little backlash, but I'd be I'd be in your corner. I'll be in your corner because you know good and well. I don't. I'm not trying. I'm like you. I'm not trying to get locked up. I'm throwing Austin under the bus immediately. Take Austin. Take him. He going down, not me. She says, "How can he respect the office?" Empress, I should say, says, "How can he respect the office as a felon?" Empress, you tell me. I mean, you got a 34 times convicted felon giving other felons a pass. I guess that's what a felon should do. If a felon got off, if a felon got a pass, then the right thing to do is to say, hey, you know, I'm gonna give these felons a pass. So I'm gonna give January 6th uh, insurrectionists. I'm gonna give Nelly and Harry O and folks like that a pass. I'm gonna give felons a pass. Dr. Nicole says it makes you wonder what they got on Snoop, and everybody's saying that. Snoop was probably the most beloved. I mean, think about it. We've talked a lot about hip hop, especially over a year ago when it was the 50th anniversary, and we thought about these guys. And y'all know our guy and a great friend of yeah, Greer's agreeing with you, Dr. Nicole, that they got something on Snoop. But our dude, one of our favorites ever, who is a good friend of the show, Chuck D. But even with that, LL, I went to school with LL. We had him on few years ago, and we got a chance to reminisce a little bit. I think he's the GOAT. Rakim. Um, but Snoop was probably the most beloved. And she says he's the only one, Gris says he's the only one that could probably survive a scandal like this. But he was the most beloved. Everybody loves Snoop. Everybody. And he sacrificed all of that love. He's still gonna get love from a lot of people, but he sacrificed so much love for something that on the surface, because we don't know what these guys' lives are really like when they close that door. But on the surface, it looks like there was no need for him to do this. Same thing with Rick Ross, right? I mean, he's not beloved. What I'm saying is that he doesn't appear to need the money. But what you did was your followers, your fans. You said the heck with them. She said Snoop went on live smoking a blunt yesterday and did not say a thing. Snoop doesn't know what to say, and apparently even his publicists don't know what to say. So they have painted themselves into a corner. And might well, your fans and especially your people. You're right, Greer. What they just tossing their people under the bus. When you see, again, going back to his executive order, where he is again, even yesterday, talking about women, firing black women who he couldn't fire, who quit, uh, like Keisha Lance Bottoms, saying that, oh, they were DEI hires. Every black person is a DE&I higher, according to Trump and his other supremacists. And so then you see where he says that we got to give white men a fair chance because they're the most discriminated people in the country, he says. This is Donald Trump. And y'all on board. Um, Even in Nelly's case, like I said, the get out of jail free card he gave him. Listen, dude, take one for the team. I mean, you got enough little you got a few dollars saved up. Fight it. Do a deal. Get yourself some probation. Um, it's crazy. And you're right, Mike V. That's the other thing, folks. What are you doing? Tesla is right in that respect too. Um, he wants reparations for white people because of DE&I. Y'all all right with that, Snoop? Y'all all right with that, Ice Cube? Y'all all right with that, Rick Ross? The only idiot that I give a pass to is Mike Tyson. You know why? Because it ain't all there. It ain't there. It's not there. He's dealing there's nothing in that deck. Nothing. Nothing. Tyson is an orphan running around, has having got CTE probably, and smokes 24. He smokes just as much, if not more, than Snoop. So I give him a little pass. And he's never stopped publicly supporting Trump. He's always supported Trump. And the reason why he supports Trump is he can't separate the fact he can't parse out the fact that when Trump was going to his fights and when Trump would have him fight at his Atlantic City hotel when Tyson was on top, Trump was always aligning himself with black celebrities and black folks he felt he could make money off. He made money off Mike Tyson having him fight at his casino. And that's what Tyson is unable to separate. Remember, they took 3 years from his life, put him in prison, caged him. Where was Donald Trump then? I know he wasn't in office or anything, but go back. There was no statement of support. He didn't put nothing in the commissary. I guarantee you that. So here's another issue. There's a comprehensive database that ProPublica has put together, and you can go on ProPublica's website and put your information where you live or your school districts, your state or your city in the database, and you can come up with numbers. And yes, Greer, Trump did use black folks to gain popularity across the culture, and many of these guys, and that's they give rap a bad name because you do have some very intelligent hip hop artists, the aforementioned Chuck D, LL, not to mention look at Ice T. He can't do what he does if he wasn't a smart man. Ice T. Yeah, we can name many who are very intelligent, but nonetheless, there's a significant contrast in states like Mississippi, South Carolina, Georgia, California, and New York, where the data is revealing how private schools are disproportionately whiter than public schools. And for instance, in Mississippi, uh, I believe that's how you say Mississippi. Listen, I know Dawn loves her Mississippi, but I just can't get with it. But public schools in that a mite county where they have only 16% white in public schools and 96% white in private schools. South Carolina, the state has 42,200 students in private schools. Over 97% are white. Why is that significant? Because we're talking private schools, right? Well, America's first dictator s- wants to end the Department of Education. And where are these kids? Yeah, they're not going to give any resources to schools, to public schools at all. He's ending that. You hear these Title I schools. Well, the Title I funding will end. Teachers complain in public schools about having to buy supplies, even books. Kids are sharing books. They are taking, when I say they, you know who they are, Trump and his cronies, his Project 2025 folks. And y'all let him tell y'all, oh, I don't know about Project 2025. All this is Project 2025. And isn't that something? This is a long-standing trend of educational segregation that's going on in this country, and now it's about to get uh, immensely worse, progressively worse. And what does it sound like, folks? What does it sound like when he's not he's got his Supreme Court to tell you that they can't consider your race on education, on higher education, right? Um, and look, see, um, one I got a text. Teacher says that they need computers. They need computers. They're not going to get them. They're not going to get them because he could care less about uh, public schools. They don't care about public schools. They're going to end all funding to public schools, like we said. They said this is what they said. This is exactly what they said. And so they take away your education. You can't get higher education. He wants higher education to discriminate against you, and you can't get jobs because if folks hire you and you're black or Latino or a woman, they're going to say it's a DE and I hire, so we can't do it, right? Um, so it reeks of Jim Crow. It reeks of slavery because they want you subservient with nowhere to turn to end it all. They said they have a plan to end all um, social service nets. Who do you think they're attacking? Like I said, Mrs. Jones says that they need computers. Mrs. Jones, Shaniqua Jones, the Face in History School, who watches Let It Be Known every morning. At the students there, we appreciate Mrs. Jones, her class, and her school. But this is a problem. This is a major, major problem. So go to ProPublica's website, folks. You can see all the information for yourself. Um, yeah, Mike V. Broadband expansion for low income and rural communities. Exactly. Banning black authors and their books. Mike V. Yeah, exactly. With his Moms for Liberty. All of it is Project 2025, and all of it is designed to make sure that particularly people of color, struggle the way that really look, let's
All
face it.
their belongings in red bags. People are deported through the Nogales border crossing. This gate closing shut on their American dream. Deportations have been happening here regularly since June, but locals say in the lead up from Election Day until now, the overall mood has changed.
No, people are scared, man. I mean, people are like, oh, we're gonna have to go back to Mexico.
Alongside deportations, legal cross border traffic here at the crossing continues. Kids going to school, people heading to work. Also in the traffic,
So we bring jackets
is Dora Rodriguez.
to make it warm.
She's heading to Mexico as a Tucson based border volunteer who has been in the deportees' shoes.
I lived through this. I was deported twice to my country when I was only 19 years old, fleeing from a civil war in my country.
She says she understands the pressure around immigration in the country right now, but wants
First
everyone
day.
to remember new
First day. Um, by the way, the Face and History School, you guys, if you start, Orange G says if you start a GoFundMe, he'll be the first to donate, and you could definitely take him at his word for it. We will all donate. That's for sure. That's important. uh, Mo- Recco Montrell Brown, welcome to Let It Be Known. He's that individual. I don't know if it's male or female. Says, "Hey everyone, happy Wednesday to everyone. It's Happy Black Power Day to everyone. It's Happy New Year 2025 to everyone. Happy Black Power Day, huh? That's I not heard that one. Appreciate you. Um, And David Youngblood is right. They want black and brown people out of public spaces. It's just that simple. Real quick, I want you guys also to chime in on this. Will it work this time? The Reverend Al Sharpton has promised a boycott of companies moving away from DE&I policies, which has included, of course, Mark Zuckerberg's Meta and Jeff Bezos's Amazon. Sharpton first announced the coming boycott while giving a speech for Martin Luther King Jr. Day at the Metropolitan AME Church in Washington. He told Joy Reid that his National Action Network, NAN, would pick 2 or 3 companies to focus their boycott efforts on. Companies have been announcing an end, as you know, to DE&I policies since Donald Trump's election. And this is what Sharpton said. He says, quote, I saw Dr. King twice as a kid, but I joined the movement when I was 12 in the North. And what made Dr. King a national figure is what we picked up today at Metropolitan AME. He says, a church that had the funeral of Frederick Douglass and where the body of Rosa Parks was brought. He said, Dr. King called an economic boycott and said, hit him in the pocketbook. And he says, what we said today is that these companies that are now saying they're going to back off of the diversity and equity and inclusion should therefore not have a diverse consumer base. You don't want diversity? Then we should not buy your products. And we're going to name what we're going to take 90 days, work with other groups, and come up with 2 or 3 companies that we're going to make the example of Dr. King. He says Donald Trump can't make us spend money for companies that will not deal and commit and continue with DE&I. And so the question becomes, will it work? Sharpton has been known to uh, get in companies' faces, and will it work? Mike V says, and Greer's going to chime in. I see. Says I already cut my Amazon Prime subscription. He buys local now. I don't care how cold it is. Dr. Nicole says she doesn't think it'll work. She says, I don't think it will actually happen. So go ahead, Greer.
I don't know. I thought about this the other day when I had to step into Best Buy.
So
And if
what's
you
with the
go,
wig today? What's with the wig?
the
Come
wig
on.
is this way every day. I literally roll out of bed at 7:28. So
We need a better wig, okay?
yes.
Okay.
But I think that it's going to be a challenge, a boycott, and I think it's been set up to, for this for some time now, because you go to places that people typically go. I had to go to Best Buy to pick up, like a drive and some batteries for my key fob, and there's nothing in these stores, right? Because people do all of their shopping, their grocery shopping, just very basic things from Amazon.
Hmm.
And so all that we're seeing and that we've been seeing for some time now is, I think that the what happened during COVID really kind of helped set the tone for that, even because, Amazon that's where people were shopping, right? For
And that
basic
other thing, what was that other thing? Because my girls did it with the food shopping thing for people. What would you call that?
um Instacart.
Instacart. Yeah,
Right.
they
But
doing it.
even Amazon, if you shop at Whole Foods, places like that, even Amazon owns that,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So so when you think about and most people have gotten lazy, if but not just let me take that back. It's not that they got lazy, it's convenient, right? To just go on Amazon and order, that thing you need because you're gonna get it either that afternoon or the next day. And so, you go to the grocery store, even and things are not on the shelves. I'm down for whatever we need to do as a people collectively to make some change happen. But I'm a little, skeptical about old school tactics because
Mhm.
we're in a different era now and technology rules and we all are dependent upon it. And, I do encourage people to support Black technology fan base. I'm a member of fan base. That's, hopefully there'll be more things in development. But, but will this type of economic boycott work? I just, I
I mean, you have reason to be skeptical.
yeah, I'm skeptical. Also, listen, if people were not enthusiastic about voting, they still haven't gotten, I think people are still kind of sitting on the sidelines and have their heads in the sand about, what our lives are going to look like, right? Like it's just going to be like last time. Yeah, and it's not, right? It clearly is not. Uh, the folks who prepared American the American Heritage Foundation, they had all those executives order they had them ready for him. And they said they were going to, right? They said they were
Mhm.
going to. Donald Trump cares about making money, and American Heritage, the white nationalist organization, they care about changing the culture in America. And white and black folks, black and brown folks are not in that equation. And so until that's the reason why we've got to figure out how to empower ourselves economically, and that's possible, but a boycott, I think that most people are not going to, they're thinking more so about their own comfort, right?
Mhm.
And Amazon is going to be a hard, piece of crack to come off of for a lot of folks.
Yeah, Orange G, he made this point. He says people need to read. He says that we have to educate ourselves and others how the Montgomery bus boycott worked. But what you're saying though is that the old school stuff is just not going to work anymore, right?
Listen, those things were effective then. It's not about not reading it. Yeah, they were effective and they could be effective, but we live in a different environment now. Back in those days, you got to remember also, there were black businesses thriving in grocery stores. You don't, as soon as we achieved integration, right, and this equity, those businesses die. So it isn't like, oh, we got a black Amazon now, right? Or the black, we don't have black grocery stores. Okay. I mean, hell, we can hardly hold on to a truly black owned bank. So I'm simply saying, we got to figure this thing out. But a boycott means that people would have to go without. And I'm thinking that we have become too comfortable for
Mhm.
that to work, because in terms of the things that we need to have access to, whatever, like I said, Amazon, you go into these stores and there's nothing there. There's nothing. I use Best Buy as an example. We've been seeing this for some time now. There is nothing there
Mhm.
in the
It's true.
store.
The
So you
shelves
got,
are empty.
you get all of those things from Amazon. Amazon sells TVs, they sell everything. You
Oh,
understand
and
what
it's
I'm
true
saying?
because we were at just not what a few weeks ago, this mall in Pennsylvania, near not far from Philly, and it was Friday afternoon, 2, 3 o'clock, and it was, I mean, a ghost town, and most of the stores were closed, and they had one, and the food court only had one store open, one food place open, and the folks that was walking through there, and it must have been about 4 or 5 people. A couple of them were elderly, and they were just getting their steps in. That's all they were
Yeah.
doing, and
Listen,
so
that's what
that's where things are.
that's where things are. And that, that's really where things are. So it's not about it's not about whether or not it could work. I don't think that people, sadly in this era, you got to remember, those folks back in those days, they were barely a generation or two out of slavery. So their sense of sacrifice and tolerance for things is a lot different than this generation, this era. That people are not willing to give up their comfort. I'm a hotel snob. If the hotel is not 5 star, 4 star, darling, I won't be staying there. I don't stay at Airbnbs. I'm just telling you. You know what I
1000%.
mean?
You know
I'm just
that.
trying to tell you, he's keeping it real. Even though I'd rather sleep in my own bed. But my point is, we have become too comfortable. And what's happened is, there aren't technology, all this stuff. There aren't a lot of options. How many people are willing to get and walk away from Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and all of these things today that keep us connected? What are
Yeah.
the alternatives? We've been so focused on the wrong things that we haven't even innovated the alternatives for this moment, because it was coming. And those who
Yeah.
know knew that it was coming. So, and one might say that that's unrealistic, but just some of the people who innovated a lot of these things that we use today were Black and brown people that don't get the credit for it. So I'm just
100%.
saying, yeah, it's not impossible, but and I think that something certainly powerful can happen. I'm just a little bit skeptical about, people's participation and commitment to that type of boycott. And furthermore, let's keep it real. Al Sharpton, I mean, does he have that kind of juice? Are you going to have these? Because you know what I mean. Are these young people who follow the Shade Room and Bala Alert and Jason Lee and all, are they going to leave these platforms? Because that's where the money. You saw what happened with TikTok.
Yep. Yep.
These young
And
people
that's the bottom
they,
line,
they fell
though.
apart. They
That
fell
but
apart. And as soon as, I'm gonna keep it real, as soon as it was back up, my son ready. Oh, I need to get back on TikTok. I deleted the app. Can I, because we still got it's still, you know, got him tapped up in my account. But anyway, he trying to get TikTok back. It wasn't even on. He's like, I was like, son, do you realize it? And he goes, I don't care. I'm just trying to get it back. And he doesn't even share information like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, the question becomes, and even without Brother Allen, I'm not knocking what he's trying to do, because he's trying to do something. And I think that's meaningful. And we could take a page out of that book. But the problem is, we never really, there's not enough, young people, younger people than Al, who are making that same commitment.
and how many people, Greer, and it's no knock against Al or Jesse or any of those civil rights legends, but how many people today, black people, how many of them even pay attention to them anymore?
That's my point. That's my point. You know what I mean? Does he have the influence, the real influence? And let me tell you something. They not listening to us. They talking about Barron being the next president, and he's 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's how, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, the focus is not us and our generation. So they're the ones who are going to amplify a real movie, these young folks. And that's not to say that Brother Al shouldn't do anything. You know what I mean? I certainly, I support anybody, right, who's trying to do work on our behalf. I'm just, but I think that we have to, I'm really probably more in the mindset of a Claude Anderson. Like, we got to get money. You know what I mean? We
Right.
got to get money and not be distracted by all of these things, because the racism and all, like, that's what it is. We know it's always been here. Now it's, it's out in front again. It's the flavor of the day again, right? So we have to get the resources, the economic resources that we need, and figure out how to do that within, so boycott, fine. Okay. How do we build our own? How do we make that popular?
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. Listen, I agree with, Power 96. If you can do it, bruh, do it. I think absolutely. If you can boycott and you have the temperament for, the things that you can drop those things, then you should. And there are plenty, there are plenty who don't. But even, but even the poorest person in the world, they picking up stuff from Amazon because of the convenience, because of, all of the things that you don't even think about. Like, oh, this little fan that does the,
Here's
$20.
Yeah, just got this note from April Ryan this morning. The top civil rights leaders will convene an emergency roundtable in response to the assault on DE&I. National Urban League President Mark Morial is going to moderate a strategy session to publicly confront planned dismantling of federal initiatives. That's going to take place at the National Press Club at 11:30, but it will also stream, if folks are interested, on nul.org, livestream.com, Facebook, and YouTube. It's called the Demand Diversity Roundtable. Moriel will be there. Sharpton will be there. Melanie Campbell, Janai Nelson of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, Damon Hewitt, Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, and a number of others, including folks from the Jewish Council for Public Affairs, National Hispanic Media Coalition, Global Black Economic Forum, and Common Sense, and others are planning to be there. It's going to be at 11:30 this morning at the National Press Club. And again, the event is going to stream live on nul.org, livestream.com, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you're interested, you might want to check it out. It goes along with what we're talking about right now.
Right. Well, and see that, but see, I'm not saying that it isn't important that these brothers do that thing, because these youngest don't have, they don't, in terms of organized. I love what Until Freedom Comes, Tamika and my son are doing. You know what I mean? But they don't get that love. And here's what happens also with a lot of our, that generation. A lot of them got knocked out of the whole, arena of visibility because they supported Gaza. Okay, so a lot of those voices aren't getting, getting access like that. And now that Donald Trump is in, a lot of us won't be getting. Meta's controlling the algorithm. They always have, but really, to their benefit. Gaza, as you heard Donald Trump say, is about, they have this nice real estate. Like, people are literally dying, children are dead, and he's talking about, the real estate. I'm just saying, this is where we are. So I think that we should continue, those who know better, I will check that out today, right? What's happening with that. And I encourage our viewers to do so as well. and just keep spreading the word. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just the question was, will this be effective? And I hope that it will, right? I hope that our folks are hurting, really start to feel the pain enough to want to actually start doing something. So I don't, I support, listen, we got to do something. We can't spend the next however long it's going to be just sitting around complaining about it and talking about it. We certainly have to be active and do something. But but I think we have to be realistic about how to be effective at it. Because if you keep talking about something and you don't see, like, you know what I mean? Like, it hurts your movement, right? If you keep talking about let's boycott and don't nobody do it because they're comfortable,
100.
like that, dealing with the devil they know and all of the things that people say. I mean, I'm just saying,
100%.
we need to get the cats over at the shade room and get those people at the table, for those discussions. That's what we
100.
need, to participate in that. They're, because they're the ones that have, we need to get the Hoffers and the Joe Buttons and all of them on board for things like that. And that's a hard thing to
I was going to
convince
say,
to do, because they getting money right now.
Yep.
Those are the real Americans. They're getting money.
They the real Americans?
Real patriots, baby. They getting the bag.
They get in the bag like Soldier Boy got
Right.
the bag.
That's
Obama wouldn't give me the bag.
right. And so
Obama
we
didn't
can
give me
talk
the bag.
about cats to do that, but listen, we got to have money. And then the question becomes, what do you do with it? Right? What do we do with this money? How do we build? Right, baby, the revolution will not be televised. Read the Black Press of America. And that's all I have to say. Good night.
I tell you.
I'm gonna get my makeup together one day and
Oh
just
my
throw the
gosh.
face
Here
on.
we
I'm
go.
gonna get it together. I have to
Here
get
we
my son
go.
to go to meeting clothes on, and I will.
Here we go.
I'm just saying, I will. I'm gonna do it.
Oh boy, I tell you.
All right.
You can't be messing with these black women. That's another lesson. Just can't mess with black women. I'm telling you right now. Tommy Patterson says Dr. King said he was tired of marching even back then. So yes, we need new ways to move. He agrees with Greer. RNG says I get invited to PWI sports shows all the time. I tell them, he said, hell no. Well, and that's the thing. Somebody mentioned fan base. Look, here's my quick thoughts on that. I joined fan base a while ago as well. The one thing I will say this, if we are going to be serious about supporting black businesses, and we should, black stores, whatever, black restaurants, you also have to, the black establishments and the businesses, they also have to step their games up too. They have to provide this. Now, look, other establishments, and not saying that they're the best, because you get crappy service and crappy products even from Amazon, from all these other places. But what I'm saying is that when your stuff is not where it should be, then you got to do something about that. You want to give your people the best because you want the best from them. And this is how we're going to continue to support. It's like here, we got to give you guys information you can use. We have to do that. And we can't just come on here every morning and just, talk about the same stuff that they're talking about in the same way that they're talking about it. Like Power 96 or RNG mentioned. He goes, keeps messing with my system here. So, but he's not just going to go and go on a white sports show. He He's not gonna have any raisins in his potato salad, put it that way. And let's not put it in our own people's stuff. With all the weather problems, I better cut it here. But thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.